told before I got there, man, I was so afraid. I thought my dreams was dead. I thought like it was over for me in that process. I thought it was so over. And I just like my coach said, just go to junior college for these detour. And I just stayed with it. I went to the junior college, I used that pain of not being able to go through that college to use it for good, which is to dominate no matter where I was going to go.
What's up, people? Welcome to the Dear Young Athlete podcast, where we talk to athletes and coaches about their journeys and what advice they would give to a younger version of themselves. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson. You can call me JT. If you want to hear my story and why I do this podcast, that will be in episode number 1. But enough about me. Today, I have a very special guest. This man here today, he is a husband. He is a father. He is a former Division I football player and junior college All-American football player. He's a coach. He's a trainer. He's a church planter. I don't know if there's anything he can't do. He's an entrepreneur. Above all that, though, he's a man of God, someone I've known personally, I've coached with. He is my friend, somebody I look up to. Without further ado, Roger Ross. Roger, what's happening?
What's up, good people? What's up, JT, man? So glad you have me on this podcast, bro. This is my first one, man, and I'm glad to be excited to do it with my brother, man. My brother in Christ, my brother. I'm just excited for this opportunity to be able to share what God has been doing through me and throughout my whole life, man. And just thank you for this opportunity to be able to share what is given to me and give it back, man. So I'm excited for this.
Amen. Amen. It's going to be a good one. So, Roger, obviously, you were a D1 football player. Now you're a coach, you're a trainer. But take us back. Where did it all start for you with sports?
Yeah, man. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. I'm the oldest of 7, 6 of 7 of them. I'm the oldest of 7. My whole athletic journey started there in Denver, Colorado. I started out playing baseball, man. I'm a baseball guy. I've been playing baseball since I was 7 years old. That was my first organized sport that I was a part of. That was my whole about 4 years into that. That's where it started for me in Denver. It was great experience. I came from an athletic background. My father was very athletic in Kansas. He's not even from Denver, but he moved from Kansas to be there. So he got us started early at an early age, man. We was especially with baseball. Then I started playing football at the age of 9, about 9 or 10. I started playing football. That was the first organized football I've been a part of too, and I was shocked, man, because the level of physical ability that you had to have in that game. I was scared. It was crazy. I was scared going and playing football at a young age, and one of my coaches put us through the fire playing football. He had to make everybody. You had to get hit by all the older levels. So you had to get hit by every one of those big boys to make sure that you are not scared at all. The coach put us in the fire early to get that scaredness out of us with pads. So that's how I played football there for the Marbella Falcons in Denver, Colorado, one of the great youth programs there. So many great athletes came out of that program. Man, it was a privilege to be a part of that. So that's how I started there, my whole athletic career. Been playing, I played baseball all my life. So like I said there, I'm a multiple sport athlete, man. I love all sports. I played football, baseball, basketball, all at at the younger levels. And I just love that part of it. I've been, like I said, I've just been doing that for years. But my first love is baseball, man. Like I absolutely loved it. Started there with middle school playing baseball, then high school. Moved into high school, played for, went to college, went to high school at Thomas Jefferson Spartans there called TJ in Denver, Colorado. Went play all three sports there in high school, where I baseball, football. I started, when I got back, I didn't play football again after my first year playing football. I didn't play it again until I was in high school. So the reason why, because we didn't have the funding. My mom didn't have funding. She was a single mom. My dad was, he was doing best he can. But I didn't play football again until I got in high school after my first year in Little League. So
wow.
I started playing football again in high school. Then it just took off from there. My sophomore, junior year, sophomore, freshman year, started playing varsity my sophomore year. And all that. So, played all three sports in high school as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny what you said about football. I've heard NFL interviews of like guys saying, I came home from practice and I quit because I couldn't take the hitting, but I stuck with it, and then they're in the NFL, but you gotta get used to it a little bit. It's a different beast.
Oh, it's a totally different beast.
So
totally different beast.
You're in high school and you make varsity as a sophomore. What positions are you playing? And then how does that begin to inform your college pursuit, and kind of what do you start thinking for after high school?
Yeah, so I grew up playing wide receiver. I was playing wide receiver in middle, and when I was little league, then it just translated into high school. Played wide receiver. I was a punt returner as well. I made the debut. There was these upperclassmen that I, coach. It was good, but I coached liked my abilities, the quickness that I had. He wanted to play me. He played me as a sophomore in varsity on football. But I played, going back to that, I played baseball as a varsity as freshman. So I was a freshman playing varsity baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even, yeah. So, that was, like I said, it was my first love. And then baseball was like going there. And then football was the first sport I played in high school because, fall sport. So that's what it turned into. And I had a great coach, man. I had a great coach that truly believed in me, man. Like, I wanted to work and get better, but he saw something in me that the drive that I had to keep getting better. And, so that was playing wide receiver, learning. His name, one of my wide receiver coaches, Tony Lindsay. And my head football coach was Coach Oliver Lucas, man. These are big time coaches that took over the program and kind of helped mold us as men and shaped us. And he was a great. He was able to get a lot of colleges to come to our school to come watch us, play, which was powerful. And that's when I had the opportunity to be able to show my talents in practice, man. Like, I'm a big time practice player, and I believed in practice. So like, I wanted to perfect my craft. So after he gave me an opportunity, man, I started to run with it, and it started over these upperclassmen, and I started, playing, sophomore, and then, making all state made all conference as a football player, made all conference all 3-4 years in football, baseball, and I made all conference, all state as a football player in high school. So that was a great journey, a great experience for me that I was like my athletic journey. How it happened was that it's just, the tenacity to, keep going and playing at the highest level was at the high school level to give me that opportunity to show my abilities to play. So that was huge. And I played basketball for about 3 years. I played basketball for 3 years in high school. I played as a sophomore and a junior. I stopped playing my junior year because football and baseball was the major look for me, major. So I stopped, even though I was playing varsity played varsity as a sophomore too in basketball. So I went to school. I just left when Chauncey Billups was there and all that, so that was a great
Dang.
experience to be around that. But I stopped playing. I had to pick and choose some sport. But I had football and baseball was my major two sports that got me to the next level of my life, which was college.
So you said something like that I think is important because you talked about a combination of your coach giving you opportunity and seeing your potential, but also you having work ethic and tenacity. And man, when you show up every day and you give everything you have, it's a lot easier for people to give you an opportunity. Man, so I would tell that to young athletes, like, man, if you show up, you give it all you have, it makes it way easier as a coach to be like, okay, I'm going to give him a chance. How does the college process look for you? You got football, baseball, obviously successful in both. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, man, I was, like I said, the success. I was all state 3 years in a row in baseball. I was all state 2 years in a row in football. So man, but baseball, crazy. I almost got drafted out of high school. I went to a couple of tryouts to like Reds, Brewers, and Braves. I was invited to come to just try out, man. So that was like a powerful experience just to be able to do that. But I could have went college playing baseball, but man, it was something about football. When you have a bunch of brothers, man, and that drive, and I was getting D1 looks for football. I didn't really get any like D1 offers for baseball or anything like that because I think they must have knew that I had a great opportunity to play at the highest level in football. So if I really wanted that, coach would have probably got me my baseball coach because Coach Chuck Gilman was a great mentor too for me. And that's the thing, man. I would say I had great mentor coach. I had truly great coaches that just absolutely believed in me. And they knew where I came from. They knew I came from a hard area. They knew where I came from, a tough, really tough area with a lot of gangs and shooting. And they really just, piggybacked on us. We had one of the high schools that was in the suburbs, but you could go to a high school that was able to take you. So that's where I end up doing that. But man, it's all short story. Long story short, man, I just all of the football opportunities started to come in, man. So that's how that came. And then, man, one of the barriers to help that got me to college that I kind of didn't go well for me because it was tough at getting to college. I had all kind of full ride offers in my hand, but back in the day, SATs and ACTs was the key. I had good grades, but my SATs didn't had to reflect that. So if you had a lower GPA, your SA and ACTs had to be higher. So unfortunately, I had a full ride scholarship to go to all kind. I had Texas A&M. I had Oklahoma State. I had Missouri. I had all kind of D1 offers. Kansas. All kind of D1. Texas A&M was my favorite offer, but Kansas, they stayed with me. So they was supporting me in that whole process but I couldn't go straight to college out of high school because of my SATs and ACTs. Man, I had horrible test scores. And I at least took the ACTs and SATs like at least 10 times. And I still couldn't pass. So I had to go the detour route, which is junior college. So that's how I ended up going to junior college. And one college that stood with me the whole time was KU. I went to Garden City Community College. That's where I played football for those 2 years there, where I was the first two-time All-American. But man, before I got there, man, I was so afraid. I thought my dreams was dead. I thought like it was over for me in that process. I thought it was so over. And I just like my coach said, just go to junior college for these detour. And I just stayed with it. I went to the junior college, I used that pain of not being able to go through the college to use it for good, which is to like, dominate no matter where I was gonna go, because I was so in pain about that.
It's interesting for you that you were really trying, like, academically. Your grades weren't the issue, and you took the SAT over and over. For other people, it's like they may have all the athletic talent, but they're not trying academically. But that wasn't even your story. And then it's cool to see, like, you were in a place you easily could have gone two ways. You could have gave up and just said, "Oh, um, my dreams are crushed." But you took that, and what I see is, like, even you trying academically and building that habit, I think probably strengthened your character to help you be like what you said, like, okay, I'm going to junior college. Well, I'm going to make the most. I'm going to dominate, graduate, and keep living. And man, look what happens when you don't give up.
Most definitely. And it's crazy. That's crazy, man. Like, yeah, when you don't give up, but also it's these, you have those distractions, you have those things in your life. Like even right after junior college, I had to pass an English class of paper to go to KU. I had to take English twice in order to get to KU. So I finally had to write a paper to pass to get to KU. So like I was frustrated. I was like, dang, why does this keep happening to me? SAT, now I gotta write a paper that's gonna help me. And I wrote the paper the first time, didn't pass. So I had to retake English again. And I finally passed it. But that's how I got to KU, because I had to pass that English in order to get to KU.
And I know now you have a master's degree and you're working on another master's degree. So anyone that hears this that's struggling in school, man, look at that. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, man, God is good, man. I just, seeing that whole process of the pain and struggle and the toughness that it took to withstand those obstacles, those things that you thought was going to trip you up, but you found a way to not make excuses, but adjust. You're not making excuses for what your learning disability. You just make an adjustment. You just got to work. I'm working harder. I had to work harder. I had to put in a little bit of work. I had to go see tutors. I had to constantly go see tutors. I had to get up, and it takes that. If you really want it, it took it to really. You got to seek the help around you to help you get to where you're trying to go. And that's what I think, that's what really my strong suit was, the really relying on my support system in that whole journey of going to playing at the college level to get to KU.
And I bet you said no to a lot. People are out just having fun, partying, playing video games, whatever. And you're seeing tutors, you're studying, you're working out. It's not just the easy, smooth road, right?
No, so much distraction, so many things. Distractions will choke you from your future. If you're not avoiding those distractions and seeing that. And I had to say no. No means next. No means next opportunity. And I had to take if I want this opportunity.
Wait. Break it down. No means
no means next opportunity. So so when I heard that those no's in my life, no's, you ain't making the SAT. Okay, what's the next opportunity to persevere? No, I seen those no's in my life. And I had to say, there's the next opportunity. Not, no, it's not there. Because God he gives you three things. He says, yes, no, or not yet. Right? He says, yes, no, or not yet. There's been so many not yets in my life. But I also, because I endured the not yets, I get to reap the yeses,
Mm.
you know, because I endured the not yets. I was able to endure the yeses, and I seen the yeses because you got to go through the, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. If I allow those fears to overtake me to my athletic journey, or I'm not smart enough, I'm not there, I wouldn't have made it there, man. I would have never made it to KU. I would have never made it to that whole process of having that support system, man. Like that was huge for me, and taking advantage of the support system. There's too many, you know, athletes that don't are so prideful for help, uh, that they're choking themselves out. They're taking themselves out because they're prideful for help. Which I saw help is like, if I'm going to get to where I'm going, I have to break down that pride and ask for help. So that was a huge part of when the next opportunities in my life. No, you know, so that has, so yeah, that happened there. So I ended up playing football for University of Kansas, man, for 2 years. I was Big 12 honorable mention, all Big 12 honorable mention as a punt returner / wide receiver. So I made Big 12 honorable mention, man. So I didn't allow those distraction or that detour to stop me from where I was headed me to. I had to go a different route, but I had to go a different way. It just took longer than most people. But sometimes God has to take you through those different routes so you can get the full experience, so you can help somebody the same way the journey. Because and there's a lot of people in my shoes. There's so many athletic. When I was in junior college, I played against some of the best athletes in the world that didn't make it because of their grades. You know, so being a part of that whole experience was great for my athletic journey, man. You know, it was good. You know, being the first 2-time All-American in junior college in Garden City history, first 2-time All-American. And I don't really talk about that, bro. Like, I didn't really literally start talking about my accomplishments till about 2 years ago, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't really know I was really like that. I was that dude. Nobody, I didn't, because I would just try to be super humbled and just trust God in that whole process, man. I was just too humble sometimes.
Now they have Last Chance You on Netflix.
Yeah, bro.
But that was you.
Hey, that was straight me.
You would have
Last
been
Chance You for real.
Man, so you're playing at Kansas. You're all Big 12. I mean, take us through a little bit, just like what that was like and what it meant to you, and kind of what happens after. Are you trying to go to the draft, or what happens there?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, going to Kansas, I was the first one in my family to go to college between my mom and dad. So, you know, I really relished that moment, man. I didn't want to waste no opportunity there. Going through that whole experience, man, it's like a 40-hour job when you go to college, man. They got you, they paying you all that money, full ride scholarship, to keep making sure that you are doing the things necessary. They put all that money into you. So it's like a job. You got to get up in the morning for weights every morning at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. You got to get there, go there. Then you got to go to school. Then you got film session right after school. Then you got practice. You know, you got food in there, eating. You got study. Then you got tutors right after practice. You know, so your schedule is thick. You know, your schedule is straight to a T. You know, about the time I'm done, that's like, you know, almost an 8-hour job, 8-hour day job. So like some people would, you know, when you that opportunity to play at that level, man, and to be a starter in Big 12, one of the best conferences in the country, you really got to bring your A game. You really got to outwork people. My mindset was nobody will outwork me. That was my whole mindset. I always told myself nobody will outwork me, and I would get them, man. I would run routes. I would do extra routes running, man. Quarterback, wide receiver. I would do that. My dad, I came from an athletic family, but just because they was athletic don't mean I was going to be athletic. I had to, there has some genetics in there, but if you don't sharpen that pencil, it's going to get dull.
Yeah.
So I had to sharpen that. I had to sharpen my skills over and over. Yeah, it was in me, but I had to make sure it stayed in me and work and outwork. And plus being 5'6", 5'7", man, 5'7". I'm the shortest player in college, one of them. So my size was looked at the whole time, even in junior college. Nobody thought I would be pretty good because of my size. You know, you already got a mark against you because of my size. You know, I was 5'7" wide receiver, punt return, and you know that's what happened in that whole process. I had to always prove myself. I had to prove myself. Nothing was given to me. Oh, it is 2-time All-American. I went in there like, dude, nobody would outwork me. I don't care what I was. I didn't feel privileged. I feel like it was a right to put in the work. And that was my mindset. I will outwork you. I would take advantage of my tutors opportunity. That's free money. Plus, man, I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to come back home to Denver because that was growing up there was tough. So I was like, I'm not going back home, whatever it is. I got to make sure that I do everything I can to not get kicked out, to not do everything I can or fail in my grades. So I had to stay on top of that and outwork people. You know, staying after practice, running routes was huge for me, and then punt return. So that experience, man, taught me really how to be a man. You know, responsibilities. You really had to grow up on your own, man. You really had to grow up and depend on that support system. Like I tell everybody, if you are getting if you in college and you a full ride scholarship or even that, you have no excuse not to fail, not to graduate, because they have every resource available to you. You know, so I took advantage of every resource possible that the college had. KU gave me. I think it's one of the best colleges when it comes to just believing in the people. They believed in you as an athlete. They saw you more than just an athlete. Because, you know, there's organizations out there that don't even see that. They just see you just an athlete. But they saw me as a leader. They saw me as an example and a role model. And they believed in me. So, but it didn't start unless I didn't believe in myself. Because if I didn't believe in myself, nobody else wouldn't. So I had a belief system. I had a confidence about me that I don't care who you is. You 6'7", I'm still going to outwork you. Because hard work don't lie. You know what I'm saying? Hard work don't lie. And I was a big part of that for my whole experience, man. It's like I had to put in the work extra because I was short. I wasn't the quickest either. I had to put in the extra work. So that whole experience taught me to really accountability, just really go at it, you know, really go at it in that whole process.
So then you graduate, you know, do you try out with anyone or?
Yeah, so I had the combine. So we had the combine. I didn't get invited to the big combine, but you know they had combines for your college for KU. So pros would come in there. Pros would come to the campus to evaluate you, see if you have potential to play in the NFL. Man, so before that, I was working out hard with another trainer. Man, I ain't never felt so much in shape in my life. I ran so much faster than I ever ran. I ran a 4.4 flat ever. Ooh. Man, you know, I was doing that. But man, the crazy thing happened to me. Look, another detour, another thing happened. Man, I had caught hives before the combine. I got hives. I broke out in hives 2 days before because I was super nervous. I was super geeked because I don't know what was going on. And I was so weak, everything. So I went out there. I performed good, but I wasn't at my best because I had caught those hives. So I didn't think it wasn't a good showing. I mean, I was running. I ran quick. You know, I did all the things they had me to do. But it is what it is. It just didn't go from there. So I didn't, and plus we was going through coaches transitioning. We had a new coach come in. I didn't really get an idea of what's next for me. Should I go play in Canada or anything like that? So nothing happened there. So like after that combine, I felt like my pro or NFL dreams was like done now. I started getting heavily involved in church right after that. So I started really getting heavily involved in church after that whole experience. So I didn't really go anywhere because I didn't have nobody to mentor me and say, hey, go here, do that. Or I had to have an agent or nothing like that to mentor me because we was going through all this transition. So I think that was, God's way of saying, okay, it's time to, put it up a little bit or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard, you know, you might get one shot,
Yeah.
you have that one pro day and you get sick or you have a bad day. I mean, you maybe still could have tried to pursue tryouts and this and that, but it's just when you get to that level, you might, even if you make an NFL team, they might put you in one play in the preseason and that's your chance. It's just
Yep.
crazy how cutthroat it is.
Oh, it's a business. It's cutthroat for real.
I want to see a little bit about your transition into coaching and training and kind of why that happened, how it happened, and what some of your philosophy is as a coach.
Man, one of my greatest a coach can impact more people than a lifetime than anybody will. I took that quote and ran with that. I didn't really get in, like, I didn't know how I was gonna be with people. I'm a people person, so I love being around people. I'm respectful. But then I got worked at the Boys and Girls Club in Lawrence,
Mm.
and that was my I was a program manager there. And I started building the club up, and I just, realized, what, I got a gift to just, start a football program, man. So I started the football program there. So I got into coaching almost 20. I've been coaching almost 20 some years, man, and coaching and training. So that turned out to be a great experience for me. I built the ground. We started out with 12 players 1 year, and then by year 6, we had about 66 players all together, 4 different teams. So 4 different teams we built, got it to, I was a program like the general manager of the whole thing. And I was able to produce, great athletes out of that area, out of there with Little League football development. Man, I've just been a mentor. I've been coaching. I fell in love with coaching after I did that. And I wanted to give, and I'm a details coach. If there's a coach, man, fall in love with the details. I love the details of just how the process of what it takes to get better and what it takes to just do that as a coach. And just those kids that I was working with, they came from the same background I came from, a low poverty area. So I was like, this is my opportunity to give back. It wasn't in my own hometown, but it was a hometown that struggled. I saw those kids struggle just as much as me. So I started to make Lawrence my home. I didn't move back, so I stayed in Lawrence and just really worked with coaching there. Coaching, man, coaching is a different beast, man. You got to make sure that your private life matches your public rewards. Okay. Kids feed off that, man. Like, they sense your spirit, they sense your attitude, and then God checked me. Look, you about to mentor these young boys, and who's gonna be a light for them? So that's what triggered. I don't want them to fall in the same trap. I want to give them the opportunity that was given to me. So that's when I fell in love with coaching. Like I said, I'm not the smartest guy, but I am going to outwork and like learn and depend on people that's smart, that does it better than me. I got so many mentors I talk to when it comes to the coaching game. And I would say all these young coaches out there, man, get you a good mentor coach, man. Like, drop your pride and ego and just really go and talk to people that do it better than you, learn from that. So I took that, man. We went in my little league. We had a couple of championships. I coached baseball, man. I have a state championship in Minnesota for baseball. I've been coaching there. So I've been coaching for a while, but I stopped coaching about almost so I've been coaching. So I stopped coaching in about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. But I really wanted to give my passion into training development. I see a lot of when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot of this technology. So we was constantly outside, and you was going up against the air. You was constantly doing moves against the air. You know, you was catching rocks. You was catching little bitty things that help you with your eye coordination. Now you gotta, you know, a lot of kids are just stuck inside. So I feel like, you know what great way to help, you know, those that don't really get opportunity to learn how to get better. You know, so like I wanted to give a one up, just work on skill development. That was my specialty.
Well, I love seeing things go full circle. And, you know, in your life, you talk about coming from a difficult background, but your coaches just being a stronghold in your life to make you into a man. And even your journey being so much perseverance and not a smooth road, and then you get to college and you talk about being short and how you had to work and all the extra stuff you did, and just how all that built something within you that now you're able to give back, and you've been giving that back for decades. And it's crazy, just when you're going through those hard times, you don't see the big picture. And now we can look back and say, wow, like everything you went through prepared you for something that was meant for you.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, you know, it's crazy how that happened, man, because you know, that was a huge step go overcoming, and now I'm giving back in such a way, and giving back in such a way now, you know, like I said, when it comes to sports and athletic, because now I see God using athletics as a part of my ministry to help people.
Before we get into your testimony, I have to ask though, do you ever look back and wonder, what if you had just gone pro baseball?
Man, it's crazy. My father, my brothers, I have a lot of my friends, they tell me this all the time, man, you should have played baseball, bro. That's how good they said, man, you was that good. You should have played baseball. I could, you know, I think about that a lot, man. Like, you know, I think about that a lot about playing baseball. But man, like now, you know, it is what it is. You know, that was you know, I'm coaching it now. I coach it, I train it. So that makes me feel accepted into that. Now that I'm able to coach it and train, makes me still feel connected to baseball in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. So like, yeah, that's if I had to look back, you know, that's one thing I probably would have just kept doing. I tried to do it at KU, walk on and play baseball, but you know, it's just God. I walked on, and you know, it's just tough because school and all that and everything. When you going through that type, you got to be, some things got to give. You can't say yes to everything, you know. So
it's important, you know. I mean, it's cool when we can look back and say we wouldn't do it any other way, but you can't help but wonder, like, had you, you know.
yeah, I know.
But so you talk about, you know, getting involved with church. You talk about you know, God leading, guiding, and using your journey. But take us back, man, in your spiritual life, just growing up as a kid, and how you eventually came to encounter God.
Yeah, bro, man, I'm telling you, man, I thank God for my father, man. Some people think, you know, my mom was good. She was good to us. She single mom raised us. But my father, man, my father's faith, that's what really led me to Christ. My father's faith was the vehicle that helped me to really understand the importance of what God can do in your life.
Mm.
So watching him go from like alcohol drinking, and then all of a sudden he started transforming, his life transformed when he started going to church, accepting God in his life. And he was disciplined in his faith, man. He would read the Bible every day. When
Mm,
I, we're watching that, because I was living with my mom to like my sophomore year. Then I stayed to like my sophomore year of high school. I lived with my dad from my junior year on, and I was living with him those times. Just that was the game changer for me, man. Because my dad went through a lot, but also just really seeing how the blessings that I saw God doing in his life. I was like, how can I want that? And
mm,
watching his faith grow, watching him read his Bible, pray every day. He was on the deacon board team, and then as he was on the deacon board, and I ended up being a deacon right out of high school,
mm,
out of college. I mean, I was a deacon of the chairman in college.
mm,
So that's not knowing that you don't know the level of impact that you have in your kids when you put God first. And my dad never forced it. He never forced me to believe like that. He just lived it out.
mm,
Lived it out, and he never forced me. And I was like, man, I just want to get a part of that because his spirit, his gentleness, his spirit was different. He was kind. I was like, man, I want that. So watching his faith and watching him grow in his faith, man, that was where my journey and my faith really took to the next level. Because I'm just saying, coaches, parents out there, you never know the impact you have on your children when you just really put God first.
mm,
Watching my dad put God first changed my whole focus. His language changed. He didn't cuss. He started to change. That whole language. You don't have to be cuz I grew up cussing. I grew up around a household with a lot of cussing, and
mm,
I didn't know. You can be educated. There's other ways to educate yourself. You don't have to be cussing all the time. Use other words and just be being respectful. My dad was a gentle heart, so that's when my faith took off, man.
mm,
Uh, and I use that in college today. I use that in college. I read my word every day, especially watching him in high school doing that. So I did carry that over to my college life. I carry that over to every part of my life. Okay, if I'm feeling drifted or going a different way, then I got to check my relationship with God.
mm.
And my dad always reminded me of that. Check your relationship with God when you feel the distance, you feel that things ain't going so well. He prayed for me everywhere I went. He took me to my tests. He would pray for me in my tests, my ACTs. It didn't work out. He just kept praying for me. So that's when my faith took off, man. Watching his life, watching my father's life, faith life. Because sometimes everybody's just about your mother's faith, your mother's faith. But on my side, my dad's faith, man. My dad's faith was the that took me to the next level.
That's cool too, because it feels like, you know, you can almost fake it for everyone except for your kids and your wife. Like you can be out in public and seem real godly, but your kids and your spouse, they're gonna know for real if you really are godly by how you act in the home. And it's cool to see like your dad, it was authentic because you as his son, you can testify like I saw this man live this out. And I think like you said, man, if you're a parent, you're a coach, you're a teacher, you're somebody who has daily interaction with other people, like you could really have an impact just by being godly and pursuing your faith. Man, you don't know how it's going to impact your surrounding. So
Oh,
that's
for sure.
cool.
Yes, sir.
And so
Man.
now you're a minister. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Now, man, now I am I was I'm a minister, man. Everybody's a minister. But now
Amen.
everybody's a minister. But now I'm like a pastor. Started, I'm in this process of starting a church plant, man, on a native reservation. in Turtle Mountain. Me and my wife. My wife is from here. I felt the call. My wife didn't. She was like, I don't know about you. I ain't trying to go back there, but I don't know. But I kept hearing God say, we got prophesied over one day. And they said me and my wife will be over a native community for doing something. And we didn't understand that. We were like, I don't know what that means. But now I realize that God was calling us back to the reservation to help, young people grow in their faith and just continue to help everybody, be an example, be a good marriage couple that God do honor marriage and God still works through marriage. And like being that light, man, that was a huge part for us, minister. Now, like I said, I got my master's in coaching and athletic administration. That was my first one to do that, first one to go to college to do that. And then now my master's, now I'm pursuing my master's in Christian formation at a North Park Seminary. So to help me, grow. I'm going to school, man. I don't like school. I'm all this learning. I'm gotta continue learning. You gotta continue learning. You can never stop learning. So that's what God's been working. You gotta keep learning. So going back to school, man, which I did not want to do. But the blessing, the opportunity came open that, we was be able to support me to go back to students to get more education on learning how to become a pastor, man, or just learn how to start a church plant. And it's been slow. It ain't been, it will get there. It's been slow through the pandemic and stuff. But we're moving, God is moving. We starting a church up here, and I found a way to connect athletics, fitness, and faith. I'm connecting that fitness and faith together. So my business, I like I said, I'm an entrepreneur. So I got my own business right now. It's called Double R Sports Training, faith-based LLC program where I really pray for my athletes before we train. Man, I pray with my athletes. I believe in power and prayer. I believe in honor the creator with your gifts and talent. Because if you don't do that, he ain't gonna increase. But I know when you give it back to the creator, he increases. So I found a way through my church plant to help me partner, to help grow the faith and fitness side of it, and to grow in that, So that's what I'm doing right now, man. It's been a struggle, but hey, it's been a blessing.
I love it. Hey, and my encouragement to church planters is after 3 years, Jesus had 12 followers. So I mean, if you have anywhere near that, you're doing fine.
Amen. So, I love it.
So I ask everyone this question. Part of why I made this podcast is the idea that I grew up thinking life was all about sports, but now I know sports are all about life. So I'd like to ask people, of the many lessons that you learn playing sports, what's one thing you would say you could take from sports that has impacted your life beyond sports?
Man, if there's one thing that stood out to my whole life, man, is tough times don't last. Tough people do. Okay, tough times don't last. Tough people do. But tough people understand that keeping God first is in everything you do will last. So that if there's one thing I would say, don't let the tough times break you. Don't let the tough times suffocate you. Don't let the tough times steal your confidence. Don't let the tough times blind you from fulfilling the purposes that God had for you. And no matter what it is, God loves tough people. God is no punk. He is tough.
Amen.
And we got to endure that tough times. You face him. Because that's when your character is revealed. And your character is revealed when tough times. You want to know a lot about a person, see how they manage when tough times are happening, how they manage that, how they go through that. And that's been for me. But in my life journeys is that, man, I didn't allow the tough times to derail me. I kept God first. no matter what. Yeah, there's some days I would cry and I would always ask God, why me? Why this happening? Why? But God would say, why not you?
Mm,
Why not you?
mm,
You've been through too much, man. I've been through a lot, man, from being abused to a lot of overcoming so many different situations that I didn't thought I would never get out of. But
mm.
by the grace of God, I'm here. So like I said, don't let tough times break you. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. So, and that's one thing I would say, keep pushing, keep enduring, and keep
Yeah.
the creator first. Keep the creator first in everything you do. Because he got you. The problem is we leave him,
Mm,
but he don't leave us.
mm,
But we leave him. And that's when you leave him, that's when these things will start to get worse.
mm.
But keep him first, he would direct your path.
The subtitle of my book is Your Trials Aren't Meant to Break You, they're meant to
Mm,
make you.
man.
And I feel like you just summed that up. So you're on the Dear Young Athlete podcast. You have to complete the statement, Dear Young Athlete. What do you want to say to a younger Roger, to your players, your trainees? Go for it.
Dear young athlete, don't let the naysayers stop you from fulfilling your dreams,
Mm,
including yourself. Including yourself. You must apply the 3 Ds in everything you do. Discipline, dedication, determination equals a winner. When you apply those 3 Ds, when you don't let the naysayers of a test, when you don't let the naysayers of thinking you come from a bad family, don't let the naysayers tell you that you can't make it. Don't let the naysayers you too short or you're not fast enough or you're not smart enough. Don't let the naysayers be a controlling factor into your future.
mm,
Dear your athlete, you gotta persevere. You got other people that you need to help.
mm,
Dear your athlete, you may be the only teacher that people may see in your life. People are watching you, may be the only teacher somebody's watching you. So how you make an impact is how you live your life, how you make an example, how you do the things that is hard. If
mm.
it was easy, we'll all be champions, but it's not
Yeah.
going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, young athlete. Don't let the naysayers stop you. Keep going. Don't let your color of your skin or whatever it is to stop you from fulfilling the God's purpose in your dream. Because what? No man can break you, and no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And
Mm.
I just want to tell that to any young athlete. No weapon. God got you. So don't let the naysayers stop you. Don't give up. Don't quit. Because somebody, and you may be the only one, or your life may be the only life that someone sees to make sure their future has been fulfilled. So,
Mm.
make an impact, be the best you can.
Don't let the naysayer stop you. And you said sometimes the biggest naysayer
It's
is you.
yourself. Me versus me. The biggest
Yep.
naysayer is you. If you
Yep.
get out of your head, if you get out of it, you in the mirror. You fight. It's me versus me.
Mm.
And then when you think about that, are you getting your way? You can't get in your own way. You got to get out
Mm.
your way. Allow God to work in you. Allow your dreams. Go get all your dreams, man. Go get it. Don't let nothing stop you. Don't
Mm.
let nobody tell you, no, football's over or this is over. You go until God say it's over.
Mm.
You do. God will give you a no. He'll say no, yes, or not yet. And
Mm.
when you hear it out, until you hear it clear as day, keep going, man.
Mm-hmm. Man, Roger, I knew it would be good, but man, it exceeded my expectations.
Ooh,
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing.
yeah.
Uh, what do you got? Any last final word for the people?
Yeah, my last thing is like, look, y'all, you can't be your best self by yourself.
Mm,
You need good people around you. So getting your support team. I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. I'd rather have 4 solid friends, people that are gonna tell you yes and tell you no. I'll say, you can't be your best self by yourself. Get you a good support team. Get around people with high character. Get around people that got the same big giant goals you do, because that's gonna be the key to overcoming a lot of things in your life. Getting around people that really support you to see you want to reach your dreams and goals. So that's you can't be your best self by yourself, man. So just want to share that.
Good word. Sure. Well, man, I appreciate you. And like I said, man, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you, JT. Love you, man.
Love appreciate you. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Dear Young Athlete podcast. Make sure you check out our website linked in the description and find out how you could bring Dear Young Athlete to your team or your group. Check out our merchandise and use code all caps DYA20 and take 20% off your first order. Also, consider partnering with us on Patreon. You'll get regular discounts, you'll get exclusive content, and you'll be supporting a great movement. Wherever you're listening, make sure you follow and leave us a review. It really helps the algorithm and helps this podcast reach more people. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.